First steps beyond. The vast emptiness of space stretched before the ESS Prometheus like an endless canvas of possibility. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the bridge's observation window, her dark eyes reflecting the distant stars as she contemplated their mission. The Earth spaceship Prometheus represented humanity's most ambitious venture yet, a deep space research vessel designed to push the boundaries of human exploration beyond their solar system. The ship's quantum drive hummed beneath her feet, a constant reminder of how far human technology had come. 20 years ago, such propulsion had been merely theoretical. Now, it carried 200 of Earth's finest scientists and crew members through the cosmos at speeds their ancestors could only dream of. "Captain, we're picking up something unusual." Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez's voice cut through her contemplation. His fingers danced across the holographic display at his station, bringing up a cascade of data. Well, you should see this yourself." Sarah moved to his station, her movements practiced and smooth despite the ship's artificial gravity. The reading before her made her breath catch. A signal, clear and distinct, emanating from the Ta CD system. It wasn't random space noise or the echo of a dying star. This was structured, rhythmic, purposeful. "How long has this been broadcasting?" she asked, keeping her voice steady despite the excitement building in her chest. "That's the thing, Captain. According to these readings, it just started. One moment there was nothing, and then..." Marcus gestured at the pulsing waveform on his screen. Sarah straightened, her mind racing through protocols that had seemed theoretical just moments ago. "Alert Dr. Patel in xenolinguistics. I want her team working on this immediately, and get me a secure channel to Earth Command." As her crew sprang into action, Sarah couldn't help but feel the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. If this was what she suspected, what they had all secretly hoped for, everything was about to change. The next 48 hours aboard the Prometheus became a blur of activity. Dr. Aisha Patel and her team worked tirelessly to decode the signal, while the ship's quantum computers processed the data streams. The signal's complexity grew with each passing hour, revealing layers of information that both excited and puzzled Earth's finest minds. "It's an invitation," Dr. Patil announced during the emergency briefing, her eyes bright with excitement. "The mathematical sequences, the repeating patterns, their coordinates, Captain. Someone out there wants to meet us." Sarah studied the holographic representation floating above the conference table. The coordinates pointed to a location just outside the Ta CD system, far enough from any planetary bodies to be safe, yet close enough to be reached within days at their current capabilities. Could it be a trap? Commander James Way, her second in command, voiced the concern that had been nagging at the back of Sarah's mind. "If they wanted to harm us, they could have done so already," Dr. Patel argued. "The level of technology required to transmit this signal. They're far beyond us, Captain. This feels more like a test. They're waiting to see how we'll respond." Earth Command's response came 12 hours later. "Proceed with caution." The Prometheus had been chosen for this mission, not just for its scientific capabilities, but for its defensive systems as well. If humanity was about to make first contact, they would do so prepared for any outcome. As they approached the designated coordinates, the tension on the bridge could have been cut with a knife. Sarah had ordered yellow alert status, keeping their defensive systems powered but not actively targeting. It was a delicate balance between preparedness and peaceful intention. "Contact, bearing 030 Mark II. Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice carried an edge of awe. "It's massive." The object that appeared on their view screen defied immediate classification. It was roughly cylindrical, but with geometric patterns flowing across its surface that seemed to shift and change as they watched. The entire structure gleamed with a metallic iridescence that somehow managed to both reflect and emit light. "No obvious weapon signatures," reported Security Chief Yuki Tanaka. "But their energy readings are off the charts. Our sensors can barely process what they're seeing." Sarah took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. "Open a channel, wide broadcast, all frequencies." The moment stretched into eternity as she prepared to speak words that would echo through human history. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth spaceship Prometheus. On behalf of humanity, we come in peace and friendship." The response was immediate, but not in the form they expected. A beam of light, softer than a scanner but more focused than a spotlight, enveloped the bridge. Within it, a figure began to take shape, humanoid, but clearly not human. Its form was tall and slender, with silvery skin that rippled like liquid metal and eyes that held the depth of galaxies. "Welcome, children of Earth," the being spoke, its voice resonating not through the air, but directly in their minds. "We have watched your progress with great interest. You have grown faster than any species we have encountered, driven by a curiosity and determination that sets you apart." Sarah found herself stepping forward, drawn by an instinct deeper than protocol. "Who are you?" "We are the Meridians, guardians of the galactic commons. And you, humanity, have just taken your first step into a much larger universe." The being's form shifted, revealing patterns that seemed to tell stories of cosmic scale. "But before you can join us, there are things you must know, challenges you must face. The question is, are you ready?" Looking around at her crew, the best of humanity, chosen for their courage, intelligence, and determination, Sarah knew there was only one possible answer. They had come too far to turn back now. "We're ready," she declared, speaking not just for her crew but for all of humanity. "Whatever challenges lie ahead, we'll face them together." The Meridian's expression shifted in what might have been approval. "Then let us begin." As the beam began to share the first of many revelations, Sarah Chen knew that this moment marked not just first contact, but humanity's first step toward their true destiny among the stars. The real journey was just beginning. The silent observer. The revelation that humanity had been watched for centuries sent shockwaves through Earth's scientific and political communities. In the 2 weeks since first contact, the ESS Prometheus had become humanity's impromptu embassy among the stars, with Captain Chen and her crew serving as Earth's first diplomatic mission to the galactic community. The Meridian vessel, which they learned was called the Starweaver, had linked with the Prometheus through a series of sophisticated technological interfaces. These allowed for deeper communication and cultural exchange, though Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that their hosts were being selective about what they shared. "They're holding something back," she confided to Commander Wei during one of their late-night strategy sessions. The captain's quarters had become their informal war room, scattered with holographic projections of diplomatic reports and cultural analysis. "Agreed," Wei responded, manipulating a hologram that displayed the known territories of various galactic species. "Notice how they never discuss the outer regions, and they keep deflecting questions about the Centauri sector." Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent communication from Dr. Patel. "Captain, Commander, you need to see this. Now." Minutes later, they stood in the xenolinguistics lab, watching as Dr. Patel decoded a transmission that had been hidden within the background radiation of their regular communications with the Meridians. The message was not from their hosts. "It's from another species," Dr. Patel explained, her fingers flying over the holographic interface. "They call themselves the Archivists. According to this, they'd been observing Earth since the Bronze Age." The decoded message painted a complex picture. The Archivists revealed themselves as an ancient race dedicated to documenting the evolution of sentient species. Their message was both a warning and an invitation. Not all species in the galaxy supported humanity's inclusion in the galactic community. "There are factions," the message explained, "who believe younger races should develop in isolation until they reach certain technological and social benchmarks. The Meridians represent one philosophy, guided integration. Others, like the Vanished Ones, prefer a more aggressive approach." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. The Vanished Ones, a species so advanced they'd barely interact with normal spacetime anymore, Dr. Patel translated. They believe that premature contact with advanced technology leads to cultural collapse. They've apparently erased several promising civilizations from existence. The implications were staggering. Humanity hadn't just stepped onto a larger stage. They had walked into an ancient ideological conflict that spanned the galaxy. Over the next few days, the Prometheus crew worked tirelessly to verify the archivist's claims while maintaining their diplomatic facade with the Meridians. The ship's quantum computers processed centuries of human history, identifying subtle patterns that had previously gone unnoticed. The great library of Alexandria's destruction, the Dark Ages, the sudden leaps in human understanding during the Renaissance, all potentially influenced by these cosmic observers, some pushing humanity forward, others holding them back. A silent war fought over human potential. During a diplomatic dinner with the Meridian representatives, Sarah carefully steered the conversation toward Earth's history. The Meridian elder, who called himself First Observer Lyran, paused mid-sentence, his metallic skin rippling with what she had learned to recognize as concern. "You've been contacted by the archivists," he stated. It wasn't a question. "Should we not have been?" Sarah countered, maintaining her diplomatic composure. Lyran's form shifted, displaying patterns she hadn't seen before. "Captain Chen, you must understand. The galaxy is not united in its approach to emerging civilizations. The archivists believe in absolute truth, regardless of consequence. We Meridians believe in guided development." "And the vanished ones?" Sarah pressed. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. "They believe in purity through isolation. They would rather see a species fail on its own than succeed with help." Lyran's form solidified, becoming more humanoid. "They are coming, Captain Chen. Your civilization's rapid progress has drawn their attention. The question is not if they will act, but when." Commander Wee leaned forward. "Why tell us this now?" "Because humanity has surprised us," Lyran admitted. "Your adaptability, your creativity in the face of challenges. These are rare traits. The Meridians believe you could be crucial allies in the struggles to come. The archivists agree, though their methods differ from ours. The vanished ones," he paused. "They fear what you might become." Sarah felt the weight of human history pressing down on her shoulders. "What do you suggest?" "We offer an alliance," Lyran said. "Not as mentors to students, but as partners. You have technology and perspectives we never considered. We have knowledge and resources you'll need to survive what's coming." As Sarah considered the offer, she received an urgent message from Lieutenant Rodriguez. Long-range sensors had detected massive energy distortions at the edge of the solar system. Something was coming. "How long do we have?" she asked Lyran. The Meridian's response was grim. "Days, perhaps. The vanished ones move quickly once they've made a decision." Sarah stood, her decision made. "Then we have work to do. Humanity didn't come this far to vanish from history. We'll face this challenge like we faced every other, with determination, creativity, and the willingness to forge our own path." As she gave orders to prepare the Prometheus for what was coming, Sarah couldn't help but smile grimly. The galaxy's oldest species were about to learn why humanity had survived every challenge Earth had thrown at them. They were about to learn the true meaning of human resilience. Proving ground. Time became a precious commodity aboard the ESS Prometheus as the crew raced to prepare for the approaching threat. The vanished one's energy signatures grew stronger with each passing hour, their approach sending ripples through space-time that made the ship's quantum sensors scream in protest. Captain Sarah Chen had transformed the Prometheus's main conference room into a war room, where representatives from Earth's greatest minds connected via quantum entanglement communications to work alongside the Meridian scientists. The room hummed with activity as holographic displays showed countless simulations and theoretical models. "The vanished ones operate on principles we barely understand," Lyran explained, his metallic form shifting anxiously. "They exist partially outside normal spacetime, which makes conventional defenses useless." Dr. Patel, who hadn't slept in 36 hours, looked up from her station. But that's also their weakness, isn't it? They have to manifest fully in our reality to affect it. They're not gods. They're just using advanced dimensional manipulation. Sarah watched as a new simulation played out, showing how the Vanished Ones had erased previous civilizations. They didn't use conventional weapons. They simply altered the probability matrix of a species' development, making it so that key discoveries never happened. Crucial leaders were never born. Vital decisions went another way. They rewrite history, Commander Wee said quietly. Not with brute force, but with surgical precision. Which is exactly why they might fail with us, Sarah replied. An idea forming. Liran, you said our adaptability surprised you. Why? The Meridian Elder's form rippled thoughtfully. Most species develop linearly, following predictable patterns. Humans jump. You make connections that seem impossible. You thrive on chaos in a way we've never seen. Sarah smiled. Exactly. We're not just adaptable. We're anti-fragile. The more you try to disrupt us, the stronger we become. She turned to Dr. Patel. Could we use the quantum drive's probability field generators to create a temporal shield? The xenolinguist turned temporal physicist's eyes widened. Not just a shield, a mirror. If we modify the quantum field to reflect probability waves rather than absorb them. The next 12 hours were a blur of activity as the combined human Meridian team worked to implement their desperate plan. The Prometheus's quantum drive was never designed for this, but humans had a long history of repurposing technology in creative ways. Multiple dimensional rifts detected. Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice cut through the ship's controlled chaos. They're here. On the main view screen, space itself began to tear. The rifts were beautiful in a terrifying way, like fractures in reality that leaked impossible colors. Through them came the Vanished Ones, beings of pure energy and possibility, their forms constantly shifting between states of existence. They're powering up their probability drives, Liran reported, his voice tense. They're targeting Earth's developmental timeline. Sarah stood firm on her bridge. Deploy the temporal mirrors. All power to the modified quantum field. The Vanished Ones struck, sending waves of altered probability toward Earth. But instead of rewriting history, their attempts met the Prometheus's jury-rigged defenses. The quantum field didn't just block their attack, it reflected it, sending the probability waves back at their source. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The Vanished Ones' own technology turned against them, their careful manipulation of reality becoming a chaotic storm of possibility. Their forms flickered and distorted as they were caught in their own temporal feedback loop. It's working, Dr. Patel exclaimed. They're experiencing every possible version of themselves simultaneously. Their own technology is forcing them to face the chaos they fear. The Vanished Ones retreated, their dimensional rifts closing behind them. But Sarah knew this wasn't over. She opened a channel to their rapidly departing ships. This is Captain Chen of the ESS Prometheus. What you just experienced is only a fraction of human ingenuity. We turned your own philosophy against you because that's what humans do. We adapt, we improvise, we overcome. You can try to erase us, but chaos and adaptation are written into our very DNA. We don't just survive change, we thrive on it. Liran's form had shifted to display patterns of deep respect. In all our calculations, we never considered using probability manipulation this way. You've done more than save yourselves. You've shown the galaxy a new way of thinking. Sarah watched as the last traces of the Vanished Ones disappeared from their sensors. That's the thing about humans, Liran. We don't just find new ways of thinking. We find new ways of being. And we're just getting started. As the crew began assessing their makeshift systems and reporting their findings back to Earth, Sarah knew they had passed a crucial test. Humanity had proven they weren't just ready for the galactic stage. They were ready to reshape it. The Vanished Ones had tried to erase humanity's potential, but in doing so, they had only proven why humans were essential to the galaxy's future. In their attempt to maintain order, they had instead demonstrated why chaos, properly harnessed, was the true path to evolution. "Send word to Earth," Sarah ordered. Tell them. Tell them that the stars are no longer our limit. They're just our beginning." The human element. In the months following humanity's confrontation with the Vanished Ones, the ESS Prometheus became the center of an unprecedented cultural exchange. The ship's halls, once purely utilitarian, now buzzed with diverse life forms from across the galaxy. Captain Sarah Chen had converted several cargo bays into meeting spaces where humans and aliens could interact freely. The Meridians weren't the only ones interested in humanity now. The archivists had emerged from their observation posts, eager to document this turning point in galactic history. Even some of the younger species, previously hesitant to interact with Earth, sent representatives to understand the civilization that had stood up to the Vanished Ones. "It's not just about the technology," Sarah explained to a gathering of diplomatic representatives. "Our strength comes from something deeper, our ability to connect, to empathize, to see the world through others' eyes." She was speaking to a diverse audience. Besides the metallic-skinned Meridians, there were crystalline beings called the Lumini, whose thoughts manifested as patterns of light, and the gaseous Nebulans, who communicated through precise molecular vibrations. Each species brought their own perspective, their own way of experiencing reality. Dr. Patel had developed a remarkable translation system that went beyond mere words, attempting to convey the emotional context behind them. It was this innovation that led to their first major breakthrough in interspecies understanding. During a cultural exchange session, a Lumini elder expressed confusion about human art. "We observe that humans create representations of things that do not exist. You call it fiction. We do not understand the purpose." Commander Wei stepped forward, activating a holographic display. "Let me show you something." He brought up images of Earth's great works of literature, art, and music. "Through fiction, we explore possibilities. We put ourselves in situations that haven't happened, feel emotions we haven't experienced directly. It helps us understand others and ourselves better." The Lumini's crystalline structure sparkled with new patterns of understanding. "You use untruth to find truth." "Exactly," Sarah added. "It's not about deceiving, it's about exploring. Every story we tell adds to our understanding of what it means to be conscious, to exist, to connect with others." This concept sparked intense interest among the gathered species. The Nebulans, in particular, were fascinated by humanity's ability to maintain individual identity while forming strong collective bonds. Their own society operated purely on consensus, making human relationships seem chaotic yet intriguingly dynamic. The breakthrough came during a crisis no one had anticipated. A Meridian diplomatic vessel suffered a catastrophic system failure, trapping several representatives in a cascade of temporal energy. The ship's crew, accustomed to pure logic and protocol, found themselves paralyzed by the emotional weight of potentially losing their colleagues. Sarah and her crew didn't hesitate. They launched a rescue operation that seemed impossible by any rational standard. It wasn't their technology that saved the day. It was their ability to improvise, to trust their instincts, to make emotional leaps that transcended pure logic. "How did you know it would work?" a surviving Meridian asked afterward, their form shimmering with confusion and gratitude. "We didn't," Sarah replied honestly, "but we knew we had to try. Sometimes the most logical choice is to follow your heart." This incident became a turning point in galactic diplomacy. Species that had long viewed emotions as a weakness began to recognize them as a source of strength. The human capacity for empathy, combined with their technological innovation, offered new possibilities for solving age-old conflicts. The archivists documented how human meditation techniques helped the Lumini process complex emotional data. The Nebulans adopted human storytelling methods to preserve individual experiences within their collective consciousness. The Meridians began incorporating human-inspired creative problem-solving into their technological development. But perhaps the most significant change came in how these species viewed themselves. Humanity's example showed that advancement didn't have to mean abandoning emotion or individuality. Progress could come through integration rather than elimination. "You've given us something we didn't know we were missing," Lyran confided to Sarah during a quiet moment. "For millennia, we thought the path to advancement meant moving beyond emotion, beyond the messiness of individual experience. You've shown us that those things aren't weaknesses to overcome, they're strengths to embrace." Sarah watched as a group of human scientists worked alongside alien counterparts, their excitement and curiosity bridging gaps that cold logic alone never could. "We're all searching for the same thing," she replied. "Understanding, connection, purpose. We just take different paths to get there." As the cultural exchange program expanded, Earth began preparing for its new role in the galactic community. They would not just be participants in this cosmic civilization. They would be innovators, bringing their unique blend of emotion, creativity, and determination to solve challenges that had puzzled other species for eons. The human element, once seen as a potential weakness, had proven to be exactly what the galaxy needed. It wasn't despite their emotions that humans had survived and thrived. It was because of them. Their capacity for empathy, their drive to connect, their ability to find hope in the darkest moments. These were the qualities that would help forge a new future for all species. Legacy of Earth. The warning came through quantum channels just as Earth was establishing its first extraterrestrial embassy. Captain Sarah Chen, recently promoted to admiral, was reviewing plans for humanity's new diplomatic fleet when the message arrived. A cosmic phenomenon known as the Divide was threatening to tear the galaxy apart. The Divide wasn't just any spatial anomaly. It was a cascading breakdown in the fundamental forces holding space-time together. The Meridian's most advanced models showed it spreading across the galaxy like a crack in glass, destabilizing the very fabric of reality as it grew. The phenomenon appears to be linked to accumulated damage from probability manipulation, Lyran explained during an emergency council meeting aboard the Prometheus. Centuries of temporal engineering by various species, including the vanished ones, have weakened the cosmic framework. Sarah studied the holographic models showing the device progression. "How long do we have?" "At current rates of expansion, less than a solar year before it begins affecting major populated systems," a Lumini representative answered, their crystalline form pulsing with worried light patterns. "Our most advanced technologies cannot stop it." Because they're part of the problem, Sarah realized. The more we try to force reality to behave according to advanced physical laws, the worse the damage becomes. The gathered representatives fell silent as the implications sank in. Every major species had built their civilization on increasingly sophisticated manipulation of natural laws. Their very attempt to master the universe was causing it to unravel. But humanity had taken a different path. Their technology, while advanced, still worked largely within natural laws rather than trying to circumvent them. Their quantum drives surfed probability waves instead of forcing them into new patterns. Their temporal shields reflected rather than absorbed. "We need to stop thinking about controlling reality," Sarah declared, rising from her seat. "We need to work with it instead." Over the next months, the Prometheus became the center of the most ambitious scientific collaboration in galactic history. Human scientists worked alongside alien experts, approaching the problem with their characteristic blend of innovation and adaptability. Dr. Patel's team made the first breakthrough. "Look at how Earth's magnetic field handles solar radiation," she explained. "It doesn't stop it, it redirects it. What if we could create a similar effect on a galactic scale?" The concept was revolutionary in its simplicity. Instead of trying to force the divide closed, they would work with its natural properties to guide it safely through unpopulated regions of space. The implementation, however, would require resources and coordination on an unprecedented scale. "We'll need to position quantum field generators at these key points," Commander Wei explained, highlighting sectors across the galactic map. Each one tuned to work in harmony with the others, like a cosmic symphony. The Meridians provided the technological framework, the The Lumini contributed their understanding of energy harmonics, and the Nebulons offered their expertise in large-scale spatial manipulation. But it was human intuition and creativity that wove these elements together into a workable solution. As the divide approached the first populated systems, the galaxy held its breath. The quantum field network activated, creating a vast web of subtle influences that didn't fight the cosmic disruption, but rather guided it, like a river being carefully channeled away from a city. For 3 tense weeks, every species watched as their combined efforts were put to the test. The divide responded to their gentle guidance, its destructive energy gradually dispersing into uninhabited regions of space where it could safely dissipate. When the last readings confirmed their success, the celebration that erupted transcended species boundaries. The Lumini created displays of light that danced across the cosmos, while the Nebulons composed molecular symphonies that would be studied for generations to come. But perhaps the most profound change was in how the galaxy's species viewed their place in the universe. The crisis had taught them all a lesson that humanity had understood instinctively, that true mastery comes not from domination, but from harmony. "Your species continues to surprise us," Lyran told Sarah as they watched Earth's first official galactic embassy being inaugurated. "You've shown us that progress doesn't have to mean moving away from nature. It can mean finding new ways to work within it." Sarah smiled, thinking of humanity's long journey from their first hesitant steps into space to their current role as galactic problem solvers. "We learned long ago on Earth that the more we tried to conquer nature, the more problems we created. True advancement comes from understanding our place in the greater whole." In the years that followed, humanity's influence spread through the galaxy not through force or technological superiority, but through their unique perspective. Their embassies became centers of innovation where different species could come together to find new solutions to age-old problems. Their universities attracted students from across the cosmos, eager to learn the human art of combining logic with intuition, technology with nature, individual creativity with collective harmony. The legacy of Earth had become more than just their technological achievements or their diplomatic victories. It was their demonstration that advancement didn't have to mean losing touch with what made each species unique, that the path to the future didn't require abandoning the past, that the greatest strength came not from rising above emotion and nature, but from learning to work in harmony with them. As Sarah watched the next generation of human explorers prepare to venture even further into the unknown, she knew that they carried with them not just the hopes of Earth, but the dreams of an entire galaxy. Humanity had found its place among the stars not by conquering them, but by teaching others to see their beauty in new ways. The stars were no longer just points of light in the darkness. They were beacons of possibility, inviting all species to explore, to learn, to grow, and most importantly, to do so together.